All right, we are here for the Central Florida Blitz for week number 9. Yes, we are on air. Not the normal night we would usually do the Central Florida Blitz, but we are on and we are live here, and we'll have the Gulf Coast Blitz coming up at 8:30. So Central Florida Blitz right now here, getting on the airways here on the FloridaHSFootball.com social media networks, and again, a lot going on here, and we're kind of give you the insights here real quick of what we're going to do. We actually have some games to actually kind of talk about from week 8, from what happened Monday and yesterday with Central Florida. And I know that the Gulf Coast, it's going to be a little interesting when you see that show come up at 8:30. There's only going to be like 2 games we're going to recap on that show. We're going to talk more about the impacts of Hurricane Milton on that show, because the Gulf Coast took the biggest of the impacts with Hurricane Milton and everything like that. But again, it is definitely a situation that it's impacted the entire state here, the majority of the state, and at least Central Florida was able to get in some games over Monday and Tuesday and make up, but some teams have already taken advantage of what we're going to talk about here in just a moment. If you got a comment, got a question, got anything you want to put on here, we're going to do a double shot of Blitz lines tonight here. No guest here, but we're going to have a guest on the Gulf Coast Blitz to talk about some of the stuff with the impacts of Milton and everything that's going on down along the Gulf Coast. Not exactly Tampa Bay, but just further downstate where there were still quite a bit of impact where Hurricane Milton, where the eye wall came through at in that area down around Sarasota County, Manatee County, and that stretch there. So that's kind of give you a preview of what tonight's going to be like here on the Central Florida Blitz and the South Florida Blitz. I mean, not the South Florida Blitz, the Gulf Coast Blitz. I'm sorry. Getting my mind's a little mixed up here, but that's okay. It's okay. It's we're still recovering. We have hurricane fatigue, I think, or something like that. I don't know what they call it necessarily. But with that said, good evening to you, Zach Lesnar. Appreciate you there. And there's Reno. Let's go, Central Florida. Good evening to both of y'all as we are here live on FloridaHSFootball.com and the FloridaHSFootball.com social media networks. And with that said, let's roll into it. Yes, indeed. It is time for the Blitz lines. And as we talked about last night, we'll talk about it here again on the 2 shows tonight, is the FHA extending the 2024 high school football season by a week. And that adjustment came on Monday in the press conference from the Florida High School Athletic Association and Executive Director Craig Damon. Regular season for all teams extended until Thursday, November 7th. Playoff brackets to be released on Saturday, November 9th. And they're not going to allow any teams to use Friday, November 8th, so that way they can be able to look at everything and get everything compiled, get everything situated. And that way, with everything with the season, make sure that the max reps rankings are correct and before it goes out to the teams on Saturday, November 9th. And as we say here, right here on the show here, we've got the state championships. We know that the rural state championships are going to be at the Villages, and we know that the Class 1A through 7A state championships are tentatively going to be at Pitbull Stadium at FIU in Miami, December 11th through 14th. The rural state championships will be Friday, December 6th at the Villages, 1 p.m., 7 p.m. kickoffs for the B bracket championship at 1, A bracket championship at 7 p.m. again, Friday, December 6th. And then Wednesday, December 11th, there'll be 1 game, 7 p.m., and then 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. kickoffs Thursday, December 12th, Friday, December 13th, and Saturday, December 14th at Pitbull Stadium down in Miami. And yes. You're reminding me about the pick for the next show that I had done 2 weeks ago. I didn't have any picks for week 8, obviously, because obviously no games have been played. But as you know, you took Newsom over Durant and you did not. But thank you for reminding me about that one, because it really, I mean, I thought Newsom was the better team anyway. So, sometimes, hey, sometimes team surprises. But good evening to you, Mark Cannon. Glad to see you on here as well. So, and as we roll along here on the show here on FloorHSFootball.com. Again, if you got any questions, comments, hit the comments box wherever you're watching us at. That'd be Facebook, YouTube, especially on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button at FloorHSFootball. Also on X/Twitter, you can comment as well. We will get any comments from those three social media platforms we are streaming on, and we'll definitely get your comment and question posted here as we roll along this evening here. Again, as we're rolling along, the FHA extending the season by 1 week, so a huge deal for a lot of teams here in the Sunshine State to have this extra week, the extra 5-6 days to be able to get one more game, maybe potentially, play two more games, depending on how much room the teams have got left in terms of the 10-game allowance for the regular season. All right, as we roll along here in terms of our blitz lines here, Osceola slamming Vera 49-9, and they took the District 6A5 crown here. How about Tavian Swen, 139 yards, 4 touchdowns, and Elijah Jenkins, a kickoff return for a touchdown, and Nathaniel Barnett returned an interception for a pick 6. So Osceola scoring not only on offense, but defense and special teams. And basically the Cowboys with the K. Yes, the Cowboys with the K are district champions. Congratulations there to Eric Pinellas' team and winning that district championship. And as we said yesterday, Osceola sitting there now at 4-2 on the season. They are ranked 3rd in Class 6A Region 2. Their power rating 11.057. 3rd in the region, just a slight hair behind Durant, 11.303. So that kind of gives you an idea just how close it is again in the rankings there for Durant and Osceola. And I wouldn't be surprised if Osceola does get the number 2 seed at some point here in the next couple of weeks as we get closer and closer towards the drive to December, in which we do the Drive to State show every Tuesday night. We moved that to a 9 o'clock time slot starting last night. If you go on our YouTube channel, you can find the replay of the Drive the State show. And as we roll along here with our blitz lines here on the show here, how about Melbourne sliding by Lyman? Actually Melbourne by sliding by Lyman 19-13. This keeps their playoff hopes alive, because the last time we were on with the show 2 weeks ago, Melbourne was sitting there on the outside looking in, but they finally are in the number 8 seed right this second based upon the latest power ratings. And they're 4-3, and that win over Lyman helped them get into the top 8 here. And gotta give the props to Melbourne here for getting that win here, but still got a couple of tough games left here on the schedule here as to wrap up the 2024 regular season. So Melbourne's going to need at least a couple more wins to protect a potential playoff berth here. But again, the Bulldogs sitting there with David Kintai's crew now ranked 8th in Class 6A Region 2. All right, as we roll along here with our blitz lines continuing along here, how about Edgewater? They run past a surging Winter Springs team. By the way, that Winter Springs team, they're now sitting on the outside looking in. Despite the fact they lost to Edgewater, Edgewater claims the district championship in 5A5. But Winter Springs now 5-2 on the season, but they are very close. They are right on the edge of a playoff berth. Their power ranking 1.081, and that's not that very far off from where Gaither is at 1.349. Remember, Gaither has now they've forfeited a couple games. We'll talk about that more on the Gulf Coast Blitz in terms of the teams and stuff, what's going on there. But they did forfeit a couple games due to an ineligible player, from my understanding, per Bob Putnam at Primetime Preps. And so Gaylord sitting there on the edge, and Winter Springs could have a chance now at a playoff berth based upon the latest FHA Max Preps power rankings. So, but Edgewater, a winner big time over Winter Springs, and the victory gives Edgewater their 7th straight district title. And the Eagles are heading back to the postseason once more. And Edgewater ranked number 2 right now in the FHA MaxPreps power rankings. 13.357 was their power rating. And the changes there, they were up 3 spots since the last time we were on. And now sitting there number 2 in Class 5A Region 2. So Class 5A Region 2, Edgewater number 2, Winter Springs is just on the outside at number 9. So again, Eagles, congratulations. 5A District 5 champions here on the season. All right, this one's for head coach Brad Lord at Southlake, as Southlake is continuing its winning ways, and they are 3-0 in their district, in District 6A6, and Southlake looking for potentially, according to the Orlando Sentinel, they are 1 win away now from their first district title since 2000. So, and the stats provided by head coach Brad Lord at Southlake. Trey Kelly went 8 of 14 passing for 139 yards. 3 different Eagles players scored rushing touchdowns in a team effort of 210 yards rushing. And I'm going to make sure that I got this right here. Let me pull this up because I don't know if I got the name correctly when I was typing up my notes here, but let me go ahead and pull this up real quick on the stats here, because I want to make sure that I say this athlete's name correct based upon the stats here when I was reading it. So just let me make sure that I do have it correct. By the way, so Southlake beat Horizon 20-8. That was a district game. So far they have beaten Davenport, Ocala Forest, and Horizon in district play. And for the Eagles, let me make sure that I've got this right here. Johans Messier, I'm hoping I'm saying that right, a senior there for Southlake. How about this stat line for him in their makeup game against Horizon? This was the stat line for him: 9 total tackles, 3 sacks, and 3 tackles for a loss, along with 2 quarterback hurries. And yes, play at defensive end. Yeah, 210 rushing yards. Yeah, Reno. Yeah, that 210 yards rushing at the team effort. So I like that. I like it when a team works together to put these rushing yards on the ground and win a ball game like that. And good for head coach Brad Lord. His team's still kind of young. Took his 2nd year as the head coach there at Southlake, but he's got them winning ball games now, and he's got them believing that they can possibly be a playoff contender. And right now, they are sitting ranked number 7 in their region in Class 6A Region 2, 4-3 record. Their power rating as of this week, 0.951. And Southlake has a chance to potentially get that district title against Lake Mineola next week in week number 10. So, yes, that's a first look at our blitz lines here as we roll along. And we're going to take our first water break here on the Central Florida Blitz. If you got a question, got a comment, got anything you want to share, just pop it up in the comments box or wherever you're watching us at. And then we are going to share that right here on the Central Florida Blitz. We'll have our second part of the Blitz lines coming up here right after this of the 2-minute water break right here on the Central Florida Blitz here on FloridaHSFootball.com and the FloridaHSFootball.com social media networks. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back here on the Central Florida Blitz. Again, if you're not following us on social media, if you're not following us on one of our social media platforms, do so now at Florida HS Football, except that is except X/Twitter. That is at FLA HS Football. And on YouTube, subscribe to us. We are now less than 50 followers away from hitting our goal of 1,000 subscribers. Once we hit 1,000 subscribers, there's a lot of opportunities to open up for us on the YouTube platform. And we got to get to 1,000 subscribers to be able to open up those opportunities. All right, as we roll along here with the Central Florida Blitz, we have got another part of the Blitz lines. Here we go. All right. As we continue along here in the Central Florida Blitz, O'Galley, how about this? Congratulations, O'Galley, a district championship for them. And then with the District 3A8 title, Commodores claim a 27-20 victory over Merritt Island. Joseph Allen, 9 of 16, passing for 191 yards and 3 touchdowns. And AJ Forehand had a 60-yard interception return. And the O'Galley Commodores head coach Chris Sands, they are district champs, and they have locked up a playoff berth. And for that, O'Galley is actually still sitting at the number 1 spot in Class 3A Region 2 with that 7-0 record. And they have a power rating of 20.019. That's about 3 power points ahead of Bishop Moore at 17.604. Bishop Moore 6-1, and then Mount Dora, that number 3 team at 6-1 as well. But they have a power rating of 10.355. And we'll be talking about Mount Dora here in a moment, as you see here. Excuse me, I'm trying to keep a mint in my mouth just to make sure I don't go dry mouth here as we're rolling along here, which was a problem I had last night. But O'Galley, again, winning that district game and over Merritt Island and getting that 27-20 victory. And the Commodores are district champs and are now headed to the playoffs for good. And yes, and then we're going to see here, we're going to go up to this next topic, which Mark Cannon's already got a comment here for us in the box, and we're going to share that. Lake Mary. Hello, Lake Mary. You continue your bounce back here, and you beat Seminole 29-14. Congratulations to Lake Mary and head coach Scott Perry winning the District 7A3 title with that 29-14 victory. And Lake Mary handed their Seminole their first loss of the season. How about this? First district title for Lake Mary in how many years? 10 years. Since 2014 season, Noah Grubbs 15 of 31 passing for 188 yards and 2 touchdowns. And that is an impressive effort by the Lake Mary Rams to get a district title and to lock up a playoff berth. And again, they're actually holding now in Class 7A the number 1 overall seed. They finally booted Seminole out of that number 1 seed, sitting there with a 5-2 record, 17.900. Seminole's record right now 6-1, 15.724. And Seminole's got a tough game coming up this week, which is on our pick 6 at First Academy. So there you go. But congratulations to the Lake Mary Rams winning District 7A3 title. And Mark Cannon said after watching both play in separate games, I was surprised Lake Mary beat Seminole, and I think that kind of surprised a few people. But Lake Mary was prepared, and Scott Perry had his guys ready to roll. And there you go. Lake Mary is now district champs, and Seminole still definitely not anywhere out of the playoff hunt, but in the mix for a playoff spot right now in Class 7A Region 1. All right. As we roll along here, we have Leesburg. How about this? Leesburg edging Gainesville 35-34. The Yellow Jackets now 5-2 after the edging the Purple Hurricanes, and now ranked inside in the top 4 in Class 4A Region 2. And that was a huge move up there by the Leesburg Yellow Jackets, now sitting there at number 4. Vanguard does win District 4A5 after beating Lecanto because Leesburg beating Gainesville kind of helped that situation there. And Vanguard, District 4A5 champs there up there in the north part of the which actually is not our North Florida Blitz, but Vanguard winning that game. And as we roll along here, Leesburg now sitting there in position. So that District 4A5 most likely taking three of the four teams in that district this year. So got a couple of comments here in the box here. Going to go back to John Durant here. Aaron here, he said Knowles will be back once QB1 is healthy, and hopefully that is the case, and hopefully it'll be in time there for maybe potentially, if it's not this week, hopefully by the playoffs, if that's the case. But Don, appreciate your comment there. All right, and Reno says, "Dang, so close, poor Canes," and yeah, so close, but so close, but but not so close there in that situation, especially when it comes to the playoff race. Gainesville nowhere to be found in the top 10 of the teams because I just follow out with the next two out because usually that's where it's going to be dependent on where that, especially the 8 and the 9, 10 teams, those are going to be where it's going to lie at right there in terms of who could potentially get into the playoffs and not in the playoffs. But that is with that said. Congratulations, Leesburg, on a win and surging up in those playoff rankings. So, as we roll along, how about this? Mount Dora, let's give them a round of applause. They're having an impressive season. With Coach Hutchinson and his Hurricanes now 6-1 on the season. They did have a tough outing there against Tavares, 15-12 victory there, but Mount Dora moves up to 6-1 on the season. And sitting there right now in Class 3A Region 2, Mount Dora is now number 3 in their power rankings at a 10.355. And 6-1 on the season. Jake Sebi went 19 of 29 passing for 130 yards in the game. Tyler Games had an impressive season. Who's had an impressive season and only was limited to 84 yards and 24 carries, according to the Orlando Sentinels. So Mount Dora moving along and looking like a little bit of a well-oiled machine. But right now, it looks like, based upon from what I can see here coming up here in what I see in the power rankings here, let me take a look at Mount Dora's schedule real quick because I think they still have to play Bishop Moore coming up here, and I think that's going to be not this week but next week. Let me verify that real quick here. Or actually, no, excuse me, they've already played Bishop Moore, so. As it stands right now, I can tell you this by looking at this right now. If I'm looking at this correctly, Bishop Moore, if they beat Tavares this coming week, they will be district champs in District 3A5, District 3A6, I should say. Sorry, District 3A6 for the Bishop Moore Hornets, and Mount Dora sitting right there. But Mount Dora, depending on anything else, I don't think there's a chance that for Mount Dora to potentially be in the mix for the district championship. But Bishop Moore, they beat Tavares. They will be district champs because right now Port Orange Atlantic is sitting there trying to pull that up here real quick as we're talking about this. Port Orange Atlantic, nowhere near the playoff rankings, 0-6 on the year, 0-2 in district play. So all it takes is Bishop Moore winning one more game and not beating Tavares this week. That would give them the district championship. All righty here. So as we move along, Reno was giving a woohoo, I think, to that Mount Dora news. So there you go, right there. All right, West Orange sitting there nice and pretty there in Class 7A District 5. How about this? Number 2 in their region in Class 7A Region 2, 12.573. The Warriors, Gino Thompson's got those Warriors looking really good after the struggles they had in 2023, and now 12.573 is their power rating. Quite a bit behind Venice, who's number 1 in that region with a 20.728 power rating. And I'll have to say this, honestly, it's going to be really, really interesting to see if with West Orange, they have to beat Ocoee next week in Week 10 for the district championship. If Ocoee beats West Orange somehow, there would be a 3-way tie between Ocoee, Apopka, West Orange, I believe, in the rankings, because Apopka beat Ocoee, West Orange beat Apopka, and if Ocoee beats West Orange, it would create that 3-way tie, would go to the Max Press Power rankings. But I'm thinking next week West Orange will be potentially district champs. Next after Week 10 and not this week, but after next week. And right now, West Orange again sitting at number 2. Ocoee is actually the number 6 team in that region, 8.232 in the power rankings right now. at number 6, and Apopka is at number 7, 7.461. Yeah, usually we see Apopka more in the top tier of their region, but Apopka having some struggles this year, and I mean, this is probably not the best season we've seen for the Blue Darters, but regardless, we're going to roll along here as we continue the Central Florida Blitz here on FloridaHSFootball.com and the FloridaHSFootball.com social media networks. Definitely appreciate everybody watching here. We're going to take our second water break, and then we're going to come back. If you got a fan question, you got a question for me, you got a comment, want to share anything, drop it in the comment box, whether you're watching us on YouTube at FloridaHSFootball, Facebook, or X/Twitter. We'll take those comments and or questions, and we'll pop them up here as we roll along here after the break, and then we'll have the pick 6 for week 9. Reno, I hope you're ready for the pick 6 here, and we'll roll along here. We'll be right back right after this here on FloridaHSFootball.com on the Central Florida Blitz. Welcome back here on the Central Florida Blitz as we are rolling along here in week number 9. Yes, hard to believe week number 9. We'll actually have a week 12 this year because of the added week with the regular season here in the 2024 high school football season here on FloridaHSFootball.com. We're glad you're joining us here live as we talk about everything in Central Florida, and we're getting ready for the pick 6 coming up here in a moment. And Reno did say during the break, he says, I'm ready. And yes or no, sure enough, he is ready. And we will have our picks coming up here in just a couple of minutes. If you got a question or any comments or anything, you just go ahead and hit us up on the question in the comment box, wherever you're watching us, be YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter. So yes, especially on YouTube, if you subscribe to us, hit that subscription button on YouTube at Florida HS Football, and we will gladly appreciate all the subscribers we can get, so that way we can open up our new opportunities for YouTube as soon as possible. That way we can bring you even more content on our YouTube social media platforms. And definitely appreciate everybody watching here at FloridaHSFootball.com. And again, if you got any questions, comments during this thing, if you can also, during the picks, you can participate in the picks too. You can comment, leave your pick as well. I'll throw them up on the screen, and I'll put that comment up there for y'all as we roll along here on the Central Florida Blitz. And definitely appreciate everybody watching here on the Central Florida Blitz as we do this each and every week. We usually do this on Monday nights from in this particular time slot, 7:30 to 8:15 p.m. And then we do the Gulf Coast splits usually on Monday nights as well, 8:30 to 9:15 p.m. And but tonight we just moved everything to Wednesday night due to all the shuffling of rescheduling of games, especially in Central Florida. Not so much reshuffling games in the Gulf Coast because there wasn't really a much of makeups because of the recovery process and the recovery time that is taking place there. But we'll still have our Gulf Coast Blitz show coming up here at 8:30 tonight here on FloydHSFootball.com and the FloydHSFootball.com social media networks. All right. You know what time it is. It's time for the Pick Six. And we are going to roll along here. And I will tell you this, the picks from week 7 that I had, well, there you go. I was 3-3. Not last week because I didn't do picks from last week, but so that's going to be a line through week number 8. But there you go. The results from last week, I was 3-3, which were actually for week 7. So there you go. And my overall record for the season is 32-14 on just right under 70% in terms of my picks here. All right. Let's get up on here to game number 1. We have Lake Mary 5-2 at Evans 5-2. Lake Mary district champs in the playoffs. So at this particular point for the Rams, does it really matter? I mean, you're in the playoffs, but no, for Lake Mary, you want to keep winning. You want to hold on to that number 1 seed. For Evans, it would be a huge statement for Evans, for the Trojans, to get a huge win here at home against Lake Mary, who is beatable, by the way. Dr. Phillips can attest to that one here. My thought is this. Evans now, for Evans, they're playing really good football, but for Lake Mary, my thought on Lake Mary is this. Now you've won the district. Now you know you've got the number 1 seed right this second. It's still pretty close here. All right? There's only like a 2-point difference between you and Seminole. In my thought in this is what I'm thinking. I think Lake Mary's fired up. They're fired up now that they have the district title in hand. They want to see that number 1 seed. They would like home field advantage through the playoffs. My pick is going to be Lake Mary. But I got a couple people saying they're going with Evans at home to make a statement, which is Reno. And Christopher says Evans by 2. We'll see what happens here. But I'm on the Noah Grubbs train right this second, so I'm going to take that here and roll along with that pick here for this week. All right, let's roll along here into our second game. Oh, Sean Council drops in and says Lake Mary by 7. Ooh, I like these picks, especially with the lines that y'all are giving. I like it. All right, let's roll along into game number 2. Osceola 5-2 at Apopka 3-3. Here we go. This is an interesting situation because I'm going to tell you who needs this game more. It's not Osceola. Because Osceola ain't going to catch that number 1 seed with Armwood in Class 6A Region 2. I just don't think it's going to be possible. However, who needs this game more is Apopka. Apopka really needs a huge victory right now, and especially at Roger Williams Field. But honestly, I can tell you the struggles that the Apopka offense has not cleared up because Hurricane Milton rolled through. That's not going to change anything. Apopka has offensive issues. It's not so much defense at times. The defense can play. It's offense. And when the offense can't going, the defense is going to suffer. And they suffered already in several games. And West Orange, that was a suffering. Especially against Edgewater, they suffered. When the offense can't going, defense doesn't get going. And when the defense doesn't get going, everything collapses. And right now, I don't know if Apopka is going to be able to contain Tavian Swint for Osceola. And that's why my pick is Osceola on the road at Roger Williams Field in Apopka for this week. And rolling along with our picks that are coming in through the chat here. Reno says Osceola continues to on to the next week with the W. And Christopher Like is saying Osceola by 10. Sean Cancel says Osceola by 14. So it feels like we're all in agreement here about Osceola so far here in our picks here. All right, as we roll into our third pick of the week, how about this one? We are going to go down over to I-4 and the JYP, the John Young Parkway, where Sanford Seminole is going to play First Academy, both 6-1. And the Seminoles, the Fighting Noles, coming off that loss to Lake Mary that cost them the district title, bought a good game here to try to get some revenge here for Seminole. But First Academy doing really well. They didn't play last past week. They moved their game with Holy Trinity. They moved that game around, so that way it's going to be played later, about week 10. Okay, so in the situation right now, you got Sanford Seminole sitting there at number 2, 15.724 in Region 1 and 7A. And when you go to Class 1A, where's the First Academy? 6-1 on the record. They're a 20.160. They're the first team. They're the number 1 team in Class 1A Region 2, and they are actually the number 1 overall team right now. They're actually, excuse me, they're the number 2 team in Class 1A. Chaminade Madonna is the number 1 team based upon the FHA Max Press power rankings. However, Lane First Academy has been playing. They've been playing lights out football. Their only loss is to Raybon Gap out of Georgia. And that was a battle back and forth. But with that said, excuse me, I think First Academy is going to roll to the win here against Seminole. And I think it's just a home field advantage. It's the way they're playing. It's their athleticism. I think there's more athleticism for First Academy right now than Seminole. And, of course, Seminole down the quarterback right now. I think that's going to be a problem for the Fighting Noles against the host Royals. And we definitely have got our picks here and that have come into the chat. Reno saying home field advantage for First Academy. He's taking that for the win. Christopher Like saying First Academy by 4. However, Sean Council disagrees and thinks Seminole is going to win close by 3 points. So some interesting picks there so far on that particular game. All right, we're going to go to a battle of 6-1 teams. Orange City University 6-1 and Oviedo 6-1. Oviedo coming off a big win over Haggerty. But Orange City University here, honestly looking at this, they've been off. They were supposed to play Spruce Creek for week 8, but that game's now been moved to November 7th in the final date for the regular season now. And which means the Titans are going to be well rested for the Lions here. And honestly, when I look at it, Orange City University has definitely played the tougher schedule. And I mean, that I think is the biggest difference here. Oviedo has not played as the toughest schedule compared to Orange City University. And that is where it kind of gets me out here. And I am rolling with Orange City University here for the win here in this game here. And our game number 4 of the 6 picks here this week. Reno saying Orange City has the fun bus ride home, celebrating the win there. Christopher Like saying Oviedo by 16. Sean Cancel saying Orange City by 7. So kind of a mix here on the picks here this week. And not surprising when you have 2 teams like that, 6-1, hey, it could go either way. But I like Orange City University. I think the Titans are going to win Friday night. All right, Edgewater at Dr. Phillips. Edgewater 6-2. Dr. Phillips 6-0. Edgewater already district champs, headed to the playoffs, but Dr. Phillips has been looking really, really good. And right now, Dr. Phillips is sitting at number 1 in Class 7A Region 3, 6-0, 17.957. Already has a huge victory this year over Lake Mary. So why not get another huge victory over Edgewater? Rodney Wells has got this the Panthers team looking really, really good for the first time in several years. And I know they have had their struggles, but Dr. Phillips is back, baby. And they say, DP. And, well, guess what? My pick is this week. How about this? DP. So there you go. I am rolling with Dr. Phillips here in the win. And I like this. Dr. Phillips has the prescription for the win. I love that. I love it. I love it. I love it. And Christopher Like says Dr. Phillips by 8. And again, one more time, they say DP for Dr. Phillips. So that's what I'm going with this week in the chant here for Dr. Phillips. But Sean Council is saying Edgewater by 14. We'll see. But it's hard to it's not an easy place to play at the Spoon. So there you go. All right. And our final game, a game that was supposed to have been played last week, now was thought to be going to be rescheduled. It was going to potentially go for, it was looking like they were going to do a reschedule Monday or Tuesday. But because of the changes by the FHA, Jones was able to get their game with Waikaiva moved to November 7th, which Week Wells had an open week this week, which allows this game to happen this week now. So Lake Wells is at Jones, 5-1 Lake Wells at Jones, and this is for a district championship in Class 4A, District 6. District 7. 4A, District 7. This will be for the championship here. And Jones is just looking really good. I know Lake Wells has had a couple close calls. They only beat Sebring by 1 here earlier in the season, but I'm just honestly with you, it to me it's going to be Jones all the way here, and I think Jones is going to take the district title here and in 4A District 7. So there's my pick, Jones. And Mike Reno is saying Jones is jonesing for more wins and take down Lake Wells. So there's his pick, and Christopher Like says Jones by 11. And we'll see if Sean Council's got a pick on that game. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Jones, too, because a lot of people are on that Jones train right now as we roll along here. All right. That was the pick 6 for week number 6 here on the Central Florida Blitz. And loving everybody joining us here on the Central Florida Blitz. And we'll continue rolling along. If you got any more questions, comments here, the time is now to do it now. And roll along here as we wrap up the show here. And again, boy, we got some good games in Central Florida happening this week. And as we saw there on the pick 6, we got some really close. Oh, there you go. There's Sean Council's picks. Jones by 7. So not surprising there that we're all in agreement about Jones beating Lake Wells this week. So again, some hopefully looking like the weather's going to be beautiful. Finally, fall weather in a lot of parts of the state. There's a strong cold front coming in. That should keep any potential tropical weather out in the sea. So I will take that for a big, huge victory. Yes, indeed. Yes, lips indeed. I will take that for a huge victory right there as we wrap up here for week number 9 on this show here. As we go into week number 9, we'll be into week 10. Next week, we'll be back in our normal time slot Monday night from 7:30 to 8:15. And then we got the Gulf Coast Splits coming up here at 8:30. And then we'll have Patrick Oberle from the Charlotte Sun joining us to talk a little bit about the impacts from Hurricane Milton, what is going on down there around the Charlotte County area, Sarasota area. And we will talk about that and with all the impacts on Hurricane Milton that it's had on the Gulf Coast Blitz. And Reno says, let's go, Central Florida. Woohoo! Oh, boy. I'm going to feel like there's going to be 2 claps and a Ric Flair somewhere here coming up. So, yes, indeed. All right. We will be back 7:30 Monday night with the Central Florida Blitz going into week number 10. Appreciate everybody watching here on the Central Florida Blitz. We'll see you at 8:30 for the Gulf Coast Blitz here on FloridaCoastFootball.com.